folks, this is Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life, and today I wanted to model an item suggested by a viewer, the Index Father Rien's Mask from Limbus Company, which is a video game that I am not at all familiar with, but after searching on Google for it, I found some interesting pics with it, and it looks kind of cool, and I've been wanting to do some more masks, so I'm going to see if we can get this done dead. I just opened Blender and we got the default cube, which we will not need. We're not going to need the light, the camera. I'm holding shift and left clicking, and on all these items we're not going to need that. What we're going to want to go is to hit that y-axis, and then I'm going to open this with shift A and then go to image to get my reference images that I took. So I got some of the mask itself, and since it is a mask, I'm going to need to put it on my face, so I'm going to use my face for this. There he is. Awesome. Alright, let's get my profile as well. So hopefully it will fit my glorious face. And there we go. Alright, so actually, let's hit A to select all. I'm going to hit G and then Y to bring it back along the Y-axis just to get it out of the way a little bit, because when we hit Shift A, we're going to bring up, let's go with a sphere. I think that's a nice mask shape that we can screw around with. Let's increase this by quite a bit because I'm going to want to get a lot of detail in here. So 64 and 32. Oh, let's just do 100. Just 100. And this is meters, so this is way too big. So we're going to go into, let's see, scene, units, and then length we're going to go to millimeters, since that's what my 3D printer is using. And I do plan to 3D print this and wear it myself, so we're going to need to size this down quite a bit. You know what? I need to measure my head for a second. Hold on. So my head is maybe 6 3/4 inches across. Let's see what that is in millimeters. 6, 7.75 inch to millimeters. That is 171 millimeters. Okay. Okay, back. Let's get this point here. We're going to see-through mode over here so we can select both of these opposite lines here. So now I hit F to put an edge in between those two vertices, and we're going to go up here on this and hit edge length so we can see just how many millimeters that is. So we gotta scale that down quite a bit. So let's grab all of it, trying to see that. And we're going to hit S and then just drag it down and try to keep tabs on where that went. Down, scaling down, and we're about 200 something. And what was it, 171? Yeah. Okay. That's about the roundness of my dome. Alright, so back to that. We should scale these down as well. I'm just hitting S and then going in with the mouse. And then to drag them around, I hit G, which is grab, and then just move them around with the mouse wherever you want them to be. Alright, alright. So let's try to line this up with my face here. Move that out of the way for now. And scale it up a bit. I feel like it should start over here-ish. And then goes like it's the widest at the very top, so, and it covers not most of his face. And it also goes over the ear, or maybe stops before the ear. But with this mask, I noticed all these cracks, and I thought it'd be really cool if the mask can actually break up into these little pieces, these shards. So maybe while the character's taking damage in battle or something, it can break off and reattach with like magnets and stuff. So I thought that might be something we can try to get, just to make this one a bit more unique and interesting. So I'm thinking, maybe this actually needs to be widened a bit. So I hit Alt and left click on this edge to get this edge loop. Then we're going to go up here to snap, no, not snap, but I want to change these over to active and vertices for later. And this one is proportional editing. Got it on smooth. And with that selected, we're going to stretch out. Okay, that's grabbed too much of it, so I'm rolling up with the mouse to reduce the amount that it's affecting. And then we're going to stretch this out just a wee bit. Maybe not. Control Z to undo, and then scale it again. Trying to this just a little wider down here. That seems okay. Alright, so we're probably not going to need you anytime soon, but oops. I pushed H to hide it. Didn't want to do that. And now let's get this guy over here and try to create this shape. It's actually a little off. After clicking on it, I hit R and then just kind of dragged it downward to rotate. Because it's a bit off. That is alright though. Okay. So it does seem to come up a bit. It's H to hide. So I'm thinking the cutoff will be around here-ish. So Alt left click on that edge loop, and I'm thinking we just get rid of that completely. Delete vertices, that'll leave that open. Can click on one of these vertices and then hit L. That'll select everything that vertice is attached to, and then right click and delete vertices. And then I think will be our top. Should be okay. We can actually come in here and get rid of most of this, at least half of it. We're not going to need a good chunk of it actually, right? Let's get our reference back, because it only goes down to about the mouth. Where is that on me? About here. So let's go Alt left click, and then we'll just right click and delete on that, and get rid of that as well. I guess that's how much we're working with. Feel like it can go a little lower actually. So Control Z to undo, and then maybe down here, and then L, click delete, and you know, it doesn't go all the way around, it's just very much this front area. So I'm gonna Alt left click again, and then I'm holding Shift, Alt, and left clicking, so we get both of those, and we'll just get rid of that too. And get rid of all that. And we probably won't even need a lot of this. Let's check the profile, actually. We can bring those a lot closer now, because everything got scaled down. Oop. And then G and Y, and then we just dragged it over along the y-axis, and we're going to flip this over. R after clicking on it, and we'll hit Z to rotate on the Z-axis and bring it around. Holding Control to get this incremental rotation up here, and we'll put it on the 90-degree axis. And I hit the X-axis so it's all aligned with that, and I feel like rotate along here. This glorious nose that's sticking out way out. That could literally hold the house on its own, but should be around here, maybe? We'll make adjustments as we go. Alright. Alright, we don't have to worry about that for a while yet, though, since we got all this to play around with. So, I guess it comes up in the middle. Like, right in the middle. Where's that? Yeah, I think I was right the first time. And we'll hit G, and then Z, to move along the Z-axis, and with this proportional editing still, it's kind of angular, so instead of smooth, maybe we should do linear. And that'll bring it up like so. How would that look on me, though? Control Z, bringing it back where we were. I also don't have long hair like this dude's. I'll probably do it. Okay, and now we want to get these markings all up in there, so you know what I'll do? We'll do a knife project. That should about do it. Thinking... No, we'll do a plane. We'll do a plane. Let's scale that down. Hit R and then X to rotate along the X-axis this time, and we'll do another 90-degree rotation. Hit G so we can move along the Y-axis, and then Y for the Y-axis movement. And now we'll shape this bit here. We'll get rid of these two, and we'll grab this vertex. We don't need proportional editing anymore. And we'll try to make this general shape. Doesn't have to be precise, we'll be beveling it in just a minute. So get this going. And our mask actually ends down here. Should it? We can resize later. So let's go back with proportional editing, return it to smooth. We'll drag it down just so we can follow this curve for now. Let's get this, and I'm hitting E to extrude, and then just positioning with my mouse about where I want it. Goes back up. I don't think we're on the mask anymore. There we go. Proportional editing doesn't need to be on. And, I guess it just kind of goes off over here. And that's about where it is. Alright, so now, without these two vertices on, I just clicked on one of them and hit A to select all, and then we'll hit C to get this little guy, and hold Shift so we can get rid of, left click on this, and this, and then for the rest of them, we'll right click again and hit Bevel Vertices. So we'll just be able to round these edges out a bit more. How round are these? Because this is actually quite angular. So Control Z, and since this is really angular, I'll get rid of that one. This one looks pretty round. I guess that's it. Right click again, bevel vertices, and we will give some more vertices here to give that some more roundness. And then to give it even further roundness, we'll right click and then smooth vertices. And that about gives us the shape that we're looking for, I think. Maybe give it a little more. Another repeat. 2 repeats. And I'll do it. I think that'll do it. And then clicking on this guy, hitting, tab to go into the vertices mode, and then I'm going to hit A to select all. I don't think you need this, but holding Alt, and then we'll left click on what should have been that shape, but instead I guess we'll hit Control and just click on here to get that highlighted as red. And then we'll go up here to mesh and make sure the alignment is where it needs to be. In this case, it's along the y-axis because it's going to slice it along where you actually see it, where it's being projected. So here we're going to do knife project, and so it's sliced that line into our mask fairly well, fairly well. Alright, so we don't really need this anymore. Hide, I'll probably delete it later, but alright, so we can get rid of most of this now. You know what, we're going to hit C, get this guy, and just start collecting all these vertices that we don't need, especially the top here. And then we'll do the same on this side. I don't need this one, these, and we don't need to get all of them, just the one on the opposite side of that line that we just cut into it. So we can just get rid of all these here. Oh, and then this one. And I'm holding left click to keep selecting these vertices. These. And you will see why I'm only selecting these in a moment. Boop, boop. Okay, and this one, this one, these. Okay, got those. We've separated these two pieces, so now we can click on one of these, hit L, L again, and all those are gone. Alright, so that's the basic shape so far. Let's see. It looks kind of smooth on his face, so we're probably not going to create like indentions for the nose and such. We'll just kind of have it resting with all its roundness on my face, so probably end up angling like this a little bit because of my snoz. But that's okay, that's okay. Alright, so we got that going, and these edges look like they kind of protrude a little bit, and I read that this is actually gold, so we'll select all of this and hit E to extrude, and we're going to take it back with along the y-axis a bit. Let's see, so I do have some magnets, but we need to be able to fit them in this. Alright, so I guess we'll be using the medium magnets. Let me see how much that is using my calipers over here. You know, we could go a little bigger, a little thicker, I mean. So maybe we go back and GY and bring it back to maybe 12, because my magnets are about 9 millimeters. That means we'll have to have holes that are 9.5 millimeters for the magnets to actually fit. So 12 millimeters isn't terribly thick, so hopefully the mask won't feel heavy. Let's see. This part's gonna be kind of weird. Let's get rid of the edge links by going up here and unclicking that. And then we'll take this in by hitting Scale S and then X to move along the X-axis, and we'll take this in a bit. Let's see how wide that is. 12.9. Is anybody not 12.9 or above 12? No, actually longer. That should give plenty of room for my magnets. Use my nice big magnets so it gets a good hold on everything. But everything looks about where I would want it. It's going to be kind of a thick mask, but that's okay. Oh yeah, and as usual, when you make a 3D thingy, especially with extrude, you usually want to recalculate the normals by selecting a whole thing and holding Shift N. Recalculate those normals. It'll just tell Blender what parts are facing inside the object and what parts are facing outside the object. Always a good thing, especially if you notice discolorations. I wasn't, but it's just kind of a habit. Okay, let's see. Since this part, it kind of sticks out a little bit so you can see the gold, and I kind of want that. So we'll try to select all the outsidey bits for the rear part of the mask. Okay, and I'm holding Shift, Alt, Shift and Alt, and then right clicking, and every time I screw it up I'm going back to Control Z to undo. But yeah, we're gonna try to get those edges to show off that gold trim. Oop. Oop. Come on. There we go. Okay, and the little guy should about do it. And so I don't have to do all that again. I'm going to go back to vertices, go over here to data and vertex groups, and I'm going to create this as a vertex group. That way I can just select it whenever I want. So with those selected, I'm going to hit assign. That way I can just deselect and then select it whenever I want to. So even if I click on something else, I can always select those back over there. Just a little time saver in case we need to do that again, which we do. Alright. Alright, so from there, I'm thinking we just stretch it out a little bit to get that rim going. I mean, it worked for the top and bottom. Okay, this time I'm going to hit scale with those selected scale, S for scale, and then Z to go up and down. We're going to take that a little up and down just to show that off a little bit. It's protruding in some places, not everywhere. Oh, that's why, because it's on individual origins. So we're going to go to 3D cursor, and you know what? We're going to try to put the cursor like right close to the center of the mask if we can. Feels like it went off somewhere. You can see that it's a bit off. When did that happen? Okay, so we're going to select these guys and then select all of those. Everybody on the inside of this mask. So we'll angle it so we're not likely to hit the other side of the mask. We're just going to select everybody. Everybody's getting in on this. Now we don't really need these edge links. Kind of clogging things up a bit. Okay, let's make sure that's all we have. Now the front facing vertices were selected. Alright, let's label this back edge. And then we'll create another one by hitting this plus, and then we'll assign this, and we'll just call this the back. Maybe back face. Okay. deselect. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this went off just a tiny bit up here, which is bothering me. So with those selected, I'm hitting G and then X, grabbing them and moving them back over here where they belong. And we can actually align this perfectly by hitting snap up here. It's already set to vertex and active, and this one's the white one, so it is our active vertice. So we're going to hit G and then X, and then hover over this guy, and that's directly behind it, so they should be perfectly aligned now. Alright, so we're still trying to get that edge to show. You know what? I think I'm going to just pick one edge at a time, and just go up G and then Z to scale, and then we're just going to go up a little bit. I just want to see the very edge of that gold, that beautiful gold trim. I think we can do the same over here. Get that, and then using X, stretch it out a bit over here. This one's way out. Okay. I'm just going to manually put that guy back in. Oh, we still got snap on. This is still not showing as much as I'd like it to. Let's get rid of these corner pieces. We have a little more. I wonder why these aren't going up nearly as much. We want to see your pretty faces, come on. Just kind of smooth this out manually. And we should be able to see those. See that gold edge, because this will be all white and then this will be gold. And I do want to see those edges. Alright, so we're going to select on this one. And let's get more of these. And we'll pull this over in the X direction. Seemed like I had to move quite a bit. I guess that's because the mask is curved. Is that going to bump into my ear? No? Showing my ear's way back there. Alright, so that should do. And we'll just raise these up manually again. That's okay. Alright, so we got those, and what about this inner one? Because this is the main one that really tends to stand out. So I really want to give that some love over here. So first go down, and then we'll go over. End up with something like that. That's getting there. That's getting there. Maybe we can go down a bit more. You should go over here. And we'll even use the snap, and instead of we'll hit G and X so we can line up right there. Maybe go down with Z with this selected, if you want to go across this line like I do right now, you can hit Shift and V, and now you can drag it along this here line. And we'll do that with this guy's too. And that looks kind of pointy. I don't want that digging into my face. So, having done that, I think we'll select that back edge again. And just to make it a bit more comfortable to wear, we're going to go ahead and bevel it. Okay, we're going to have to recalculate the normals. And try that again. Some are still flying off. I think they're just too close when I try to bevel it. Wait, what is this? Let's see if you are indeed the culprit. Yeah. There's that going on, which I don't think we'll need. So just get rid of that. And create a new face between these two and these two. And try that bevel one more time. See if we got rid of at least a little bit. Yeah, it's not shooting off over here at least anymore. Still got this going. And let's get rid of this. And create some squares. Let's see. Beveling the edge. Seems to be working okay. No more shooting off. Well, there's some. There's a little bit. Smooth that out so it's not that close. There are a lot of ones that are really close that are going to make that tricky to do. We'll worry about beveling in a while. That's like the last thing you really want to do. Alright, so now I want to put in these cracks. So let's see how I want to do that. Now I do want this mask to split into pieces along these cracks because I think that'll look cute. So I'm thinking maybe this chunk, and this chunk. So just 3 chunks, and then the main mask up here will remain intact. So let me think how I want to do this. So I'm thinking we will use the knife project to create those cracks. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do that again with a plane. Gonna go 90 degrees, so we're facing it, shrink it down to something a bit more manageable. Get rid of these, and start along these, get rid of snap. Here. Now, I'm thinking these cracks will just be cosmetic. So I don't want the mask to part over here, because that would ruin the structural stability of the mask, because we're going to have like the string or strap or whatever up here, and having this broken into pieces will put a lot of strain right there, and I don't think the magnets would hold that together super well. So I'm gonna create the wait, I'm kind of far off. Maybe something like this, and start off like this. Is that the end of its own crack over here? And create this one. It goes like this. Actually, we'll take this guy on here. And this I kind of want to be a triangular part. We'll follow along here, and we'll go through here. We're just clicking or left clicking and hitting E to extrude, and just following along best we can. Get these cracks. And we'll stretch that one out a bit. Come back around. That's his hair. Just keep following. And we'll send that off. Come back around. I think these will just go together. Oops. Okay, so we got that. We'll bring that up to the forefront and get rid of this. Alright, so with those cracks, now we gotta make the divisions that we're actually gonna use, because these will just be kind of recessed into the mask. Now I'm gonna make the actual divisions between the parts. So we want, can I have this? That. Looking on this, we're gonna subdivide here just to give us a vertex to play with. And we're gonna go through here. Okay, we'll go over here. I want these two pieces. Now, I have not done this sort of thing before, so I don't know how well it's going to work, but I am eager to experiment and see. Alright, so let's tuck this in just a bit more. Doesn't really matter. Clean that up a little bit. We'll even merge it. And then we can do this other one, because this will make another nice piece. Get rid of merge and snap, and then just keep extruding. Trying to get it around center of these so it's fairly even. And subdivide that, and just stretch that. There. Okay, now I'm thinking we can hopefully knife project. So with that one clicked, I'm not sure why that doesn't work, but well, Control F click onto this one. Wait, we gotta edit first, and then Control click on this one. There we go. And now we will go back to Mesh, Knife Project, and this time we'll use Cut Through, so it goes through both sides. And hopefully that gave us what we were looking for, more or less. Can hit H on that to hide it. Let's see, it does look like it went through. Let's examine a little closer here. Well, not bad, not bad. Alright, so this part will be a little tricky. So what we want to do now is separate all these pieces so we can work with them individually. Let's go ahead and make a duplicate of this in case I screw this up. So this will be the mask. And then this will be for separating. And we will not touch the OG. OG is to be left alone. Okay. So let's try to separate this part first. Oh, that's nice. Could potentially just go along here. For now, let's focus on this. So this will be one part. Didn't quite get through there, unfortunately. Project is not always a perfect system. Okay, now I want everything below. Hit C and try to get all these vertices below that line that we just made, or highlighted. Collecting. And to make this bigger and smaller, we're just scrolling on the mouse wheel. So we get into those little crevices. I don't think we want this one. We definitely want this one. Want this one. I think we're good on that side. Let's bring it around. Selecting all of these wonderful vertices. Alright, that should do it. I should now Shift D to duplicate. That'll bring this down. So now we have this portion to work with. And where was that part that screwed up a bit here? I'm gonna seal that back up. Be a nice solid face. Alright, now we're gonna grab the edges of hitting Shift Alt and left clicking and grab up these edges. Those actually, why is this here? Don't want those. Get these edges here, so we want them to be separate edge loops. We don't want them to be connected for what we got going next. And hopefully this will work out. Oop, where'd my cursor go? There it is. Okay. And there's all of them. Not quite. Oh my. Okay. I believe that is all of them. Unfortunately, we have this going, which is kind of crazy. Guess this one isn't the one we want. Now, with 2, we'll go back in the edges and see if the edge loops bridge, which they are not doing a fantastic job of at the moment. Trying to find out why they're choosing to do that. Maybe just gotta simplify things a bit. Alright. So I can assign these, and I'll just start. This and this. Ridge edge loops. Fine. Yeah, this is going to be a much more complex shape than I was hoping for. So we might just have to do this mostly manually. I don't like that. Fine. Oh, we get nice and close before the clipping begins. I think we need that. This is a weird corner. Okay, that is one of the shards. Alright, we just gotta do that multiple more times. Wait. Maybe I'll just do 2. Instead of having this little piece after that took a long time, we'll just have 3 pieces. The main piece, this piece, and then this piece. To preserve my sanity. Alright, let's get this going. Selecting everything on this slide. And to get that, I'm hitting C for this big selection circle. Rolling it around, collecting all the vertices. Everybody. Okay. Make sure we got what we want. Think we're looking pretty decent so far. Oh, one thing I forgot to do, which doesn't really matter. And then we'll separate this. Shift D to duplicate. Bring this whole chunk down. I want to bring it too far. We'll hit P selection to separate it. Do the same thing with this one, since they're going to be individual parts. We don't really need all these on this part anymore. So basically everything below this. Okay. Select these. Everything below that dividing line. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna need these either. So everything along this line. Well, actually, we need that. We don't need those. We'll just keep going. Flipping around. Okay. gets rid of that. I can hit L on this and get rid of all of that. Alright, so now we have these parts, and now we gotta do the bridgings. What is this? Not a fan of that, but that can wait. No, we don't need that. I think the mask is supposed to go like this. Let's just seal that up. Okay. Now we get to do the bridge for this too. And of course we can't just do a simple loop. Of course. Bridge those at least. Okay, so we finally got all that going. So let's get our shards back into place, more or less. Hit L up here, drag it up. Should be fitting just fine and dandy. And do the same for these. L up should fit pretty cleanly. And alright, so I got that. And now something I should have done in the first place was to put these bits down a bit to give the indentation of those cracks. Let's see. I don't want to do that. I think we'll grab the faces here. Yeah. These faces. Oh, this is gonna be tedious. Just trying to get all these faces that represent the cracks. And what is this? This is emptiness here. Here, I would think. Yes or no? And then we're going to extrude along the y-axis into our mask a bit. See, this is where it's going to get weird. First, before we did that, I actually wanted to check if I hit anything on the inside, and we totally did, so get rid of these. because I don't want those, just the very outside of it, not these interfaces here. Let's clean that up. Okay. Sure we didn't erase anything we wanted to keep. Yeah. I think that about did it. Alright, and E and extruding along the Y. Give us at least a few millimeters to work with. How many is that even? 1.2. You know what? Let's take it a little further, in fact. Nope. This is a full 12. You know what? Actually, 1 might be plenty. Because we still gotta consider those magnets. And get rid of snap. And 1.5. Alright, that should be enough to at least see it. Alright. Now the really tedious part will be to clean up all this. Because now we got this rim that is not indented. Oh dear. Now we gotta do that again. Oh. Okay. It's for the coolness of the mask. We must remind ourselves. I wonder if I could just move this back. That would be nice if that's how that went. Let's see if we can just push this back, get it to snap like this, so that'll line up well enough. Looks okay. That's perfect. But what in life ever is. Let's just see if that does it, because that would save a lot of time. Close up faces. Okay. Bit of edge length, and we'll do and mesh cleanup merge by distance, and we'll go 0.01. That gets rid of some. I don't know how clean that is, but we'll see. And I just hit Shift N to recalculate the normals. That's it. Missed one. Okay, so now we got this indentation going. Be a lot easier to follow when you paint it later. And now let's do the shards. Let's just do this one. Yep. Hide those. Lost the cursor there. Let's see. So go merge. Let's put that to 0, 1 as well. And with this guy selected, G, Y, and hopefully that did what we want it to do. It's looking pretty decent so far. This is interesting. That should not be like that. Feel like that's gonna cause some problems in the future, but we'll see. We will see. Okay, I think we got that whole edge. I don't need this. And I will take it back, G, Y, and with snap. There. Got a bit of a gap there. I don't think we need. Close that off. How am I gonna print these? It's gonna be tricky. Alright, last one. Now I'm Shift Alt clicking to gather along these edge loops, or these edges. Shift Alt, left click. And then G, Y, oh, let's make this the part that we're on. There we go. Let's seal this up. This is wild, man. Let's go ahead and clean this up. It's fine. Let's see about this one. Fine as well. And now we got separator mask. Now we got our 3 pieces, the main part, and the 2 shards that will hopefully break apart appropriately. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much it for the basic look of the thing. can even paint it just to get a better idea of what it'll look like. That'll be our gold. We got some stragglers here. Paint material new. That'll be what it is. Can we get a new material? A new. Sign here. This one should probably be ale. Right, and this one was kind of that's bright white. That going. Alright, and I don't know if I should even bother doing this because it serves, well, it's cosmetic. Let's just do it anyway, just so we can see what we're working with. I'm gonna collect all these faces here. Let's get us a new color. This will be black. And let's line that here. Side. There we go. So now we can see what we're about getting to here. Let's just go ahead and get these two. Might as well, though. Probably that one too. That's about what we'll be looking at. It's pretty close. Pretty close. These guys are phasing in and out of each other. Okay. Yeah, I can see that one goes kind of through, but I think this one has more character. Okay, so now I'm thinking, did we bevel these edges? We did not. I thought about beveling them. Is that gonna be an issue? Either way, I want to create the an area for like the strap and stuff. I'm gonna use some stretchy string, so I don't need much space. Let me see how much I actually need. Alright, so I need about 3.5 millimeters worth of a gap to get my string in place. Should probably make it a bit bigger. So it's 4 point something. Let's see. So over here. I wonder if we can mirror this. Yeah, we can. Good. Alright. Alright, with those selected, let's go ahead and extrude them out. Let's say 4.5. And we'll do some more. Okay, get rid of the snap here. Plenty round. Alright. Alright, so that's basically what we got there. Now all I really have to do is figure out where to put the magnets to attach these faces together. How do I want to do that? I was just looking over here. And I will assume it's fine. It'll kind of be picked up a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't have a tiny anime nose, unfortunately. But that's alright. I mean, you could always sand this down if it's uncomfortable, but let's see. How do I want to make these? Seems like a nice flat face we can use. Let me see. Okay, so we're gonna come over here. We're gonna put with F3. We're gonna open this menu and go cursor to active, so we get that right there. And then we're going to say create a circle, and the circle is going to be 9.5 millimeters wide, but since this is radius, we can divide by 2. Oh, and we got our circle here. That looks like it's going to be a very snug fit. Give it a face with F, and then we'll try to align it fairly close to this face. No, that's not going to be perfect, and that's alright. Okay, we're going to be working a little bit with these. So I can, well, actually, I guess I don't need to do that. No, let's do that. So I can keep this edge so I can move along it easier. I'm going to go up here to global and hit +1. That way now, when we pick this face, we can move across this instead of the usual Y or X. We're moving along this using that edge that we just selected as a new axis to screw around with. So let's take this and get rid of it for a moment. And this will actually have to be separated because we're going to do a knife project. Let's see. Select this, and then I think it was Shift Numpad. Yeah. To align our camera to this angle, to this face here. And then we're going to hit this, edit. And then we need that circle, so we're going to control left click it over here, and then we're going to mesh, knife project, not cut through. And now we should have our magnet hole there. extrude. So magnets are about 3 millimeters wide, so we're gonna put out here, maybe give it a tiny bit more room for like the super glue and such. Would be somewhat of an issue there. Let's just move this up using, actually, go back to global, and we'll push it up. Hopefully that won't interfere too much with what we're doing. So that'll be one place for the magnet, and now we gotta create its opposite on the main part of the mask. Oh boy. Okay. So magnet hole, and we're gonna use its edge that we had before and move it along here. And in order to get it facing the other way, I'm gonna switch the normals. I think that should do it. And we're gonna hit Shift 7 to get this under. Okay. Wait. That shouldn't interfere actually. That shouldn't interfere at all. Alright, go back into this, go into edit mode, and then we'll get our magnet hole back with control left click. Oh yeah, we gotta go back to that phase. Shift 7 on the numpad, then clicking over here, going into edit mode, and then control, clicking on that, and then we do our knife project, and there we go. We can take this up 3 millimeters. Oops. Just extruding. Give it 3.1. This one's also protruding a little bit. Let's go back to that mode. Is it? I don't think this one's protruding, but I will push it back just a wee bit over. Just get it away from that side. Alright, so that should be that magnet at least. Is one gonna be strong enough to hold it though? I'd like to do more. But where? I don't need you. Thinking maybe up here would be a good place for a magnet. And what about this one? I could put maybe one up here, and maybe one down here, and one over here. Huh. Yeah. I think that would be okay. Alright, so let's get we could just use this one again. Magnet hole. Let's bring magnet hole over here. Set origin to geometry and get that guy up here. Using cursor, we'll use individual origins. Get snap off. And we'll try to align the magnet with. This is kind of awkward. don't want that. In order to move really finely, I'm going to hit G to grab it, and then I'm holding Shift as I move my mouse around. So it only moves a little bit. Okay, I think that'll do. Let's go in here. Magnet hole. Actually, we gotta do the face thing. Let's switch the normals. I think it's back to what it used to be. No, maybe not. There we go. And click on this, go into edit, and then control. Click on that, then knife project. Hide that for a moment, and then we'll go down. We'll extrude. And 3 inches and 3.1 millimeters, not inches. Alright. Right. I want to move it a bit away from that wall there. Don't want it poking through. More or less. Let's get the magnet hole again. It's hiding. There's the mask. And then we'll do all that again. Just move this a bit. Let's recalculate. No. Shift N. Recalculating the normals on the other side this time. Gotta click on it. Calculate normals. There we go. There we go. That is the orientation we want. Edit. Let's go back. Knife project. We'll take that down 3.1 millimeters. Checking this out. It doesn't look like it's hitting. This edge is really close, which I don't like, but what can you do? Alright, so that is the 2 magnets for that part. Now we need the magnets for the second shard. This guy. I feel like with this shard it'll help hold this other shard, so maybe we only need 1 magnet for this guy. And it is fairly small, so but with 2 magnets it would help with the alignment more. There's not a lot of space on this one. I'm thinking here might be a place to go. And then maybe over here. Let's see. Is this gonna be a viable spot? Over here. Dragging it over with a Y. This will probably do. We're gonna shift. No, we want to recalculate our normals. And okay, or not. Okay. Okay, with this, and then we're gonna go back. Knife project. Down 3 mils. It's cutting through a bit. Let's get rid of that. This face, and we're gonna want to move it a bit over so it's not clipping through. Okay, and then we'll go the other side again to do the main face. This one. That. Should just to move it down. Let's get that orientation. Flipping it around. Another hole. Knife project again. Some more. Go down 3 mils. Boop. Alright. Doesn't seem to be sticking out anywhere. Seems okay. Alright, last one. We'll add the magnet. Where shall we place it? Thinking maybe over here. Origin to geometry. Not the flattest face, but I think it'll do. Okay. Add hole. Project. Get rid of those reference images that keep getting in the way. 3 and 1. Let's move this guy over here. It's still kind of riding on that. Just moving it away from this edge, because it looks like it wants to clip through. It's kind of tight, but I think we'll get it. Okay, this was the main part of the mask, so we need the other part, which is shard 1. Magnet hole. It's hidden. Come on. Okay. Extend. The new one. And let's get the origin to geometry. And then we will shift 7. Is that right? No. Calculate. There we go. Magna hole. Knife project. Tiny cut there. Alright. Why did it do that? Okay. That one's definitely doing some clipping there. Bit more than I like. This one's not going to be very pretty. At least it's in there. Okay. And I think that's everything. We have these bits here. We have the string holes. Hopefully my enormous head will actually fit in this. And if you ever need to resize, you can just go along the X, stretch it out a bit. Let's see. I mean, am I missing anything here? That's about it. I think the rest will just be printing and painting. Alright, so after printing this out, I found that these were a bit obstructive, the part that goes with the straps, so I want to get rid of those and change them to be something else. So let's see. Because these were kind of pressing into my forehead, which I did not care for, so I have an idea on how I want to do this so it'll be more comfortable. So let's get rid of this and this. I'm gonna attach these over here just to clean this back up a little bit. And rather than show you both, because it's going to be the same operation, I'm just going to extrude this a bit. A little more, just to give us some more room to work with. And this will now be where we put our strap. How long is this? 15? More than enough, really. E to extrude. Do we even need to extrude? How's that? No, definitely extrude. And let's say this will be 10 millimeters about. And then we will use these three. And how long is this? That'll give us about 6. Use these 4.
and then we'll subdivide, and that'll let us get rid of these edges here. Now we can bridge the edge loops. These, and bridge the edge loops. Yeah, I think this will work better. That way we can put the string in through here and put the knot over here. I think it'll do okay. Alright, so now I'm going to bevel these edges just for comfort's sake. These outer edges, I think that's all of them. We're going to bevel. Let's make it rounder bevel. Make sure everybody's looking decent. I think that'll... Ooh. Look at this. I don't want that. Subdivide. You can go back over here. Should probably be okay. Smooth that back out. We gotta do the same over here. Because those would be some very strange faces. And we want to avoid that. We don't want to confuse our slicer. Drag back over here. Fill that up. Filled, right? All filled. Yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to do that on the other side as well. But hopefully this time it'll come out a bit more comfortable to wear. Alright, I will print this out and let you know. Alright. Okay, before I started printing, I also wanted to straighten out these loops because originally they were kind of pointing inwardly, so I wanted to straighten them out like that. So I'll show you how I did that. Pretty simple. Let's see. We will grab one of these edges and create an edge up here to follow along with that, and then we will grab all of these guys and we'll turn it a bit up along the Y, and then we'll just grab and pull it out here. Let's try to align it with the other one. Oh, that's me. Doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, just so it's not pointing inward towards the face makes it a little more comfortable, I think. And maybe... yeah. Alright, that's all I wanted to add.
Here's the mask all printed, and then adding the magnets, it comes together nicely. I did use a heat gun to very gently soften the edges so it could come together a bit more flush. And now after painting, this is the result. A pretty nice Rien the Index Nurse Father mask from Limbus Company. If you don't want to go through all that modeling, the STL files for this mask as well as many more props are available to supporter tier and above over on my Patreon. Feel free to comment props you'd like to see in the future, and if you'd like a particular item for yourself, I can be commissioned by emailing minitech616@gmail.com. This has been Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life. Thanks for watching.